Start.
Hi, everyone. It's Cricket Barrientos, founder, Sounds of Autism, and we're here today on Spectrum Talks and Tips with our co-host, Dr. Khan, all the way in Pakistan. We are 12 hours different, so she's at nighttime when we're in the morning. Hi, Dr. Khan. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? And how are you, Cynthia?
Hi, how are you, Dr. Khan? And hi, Cricket. It's nice to meet you guys.
Hi, Cynthia. So Dr. Khan had invited Cynthia Laine, the founder of Black Autism Coalition, to join us today on our Spectrum Talks and Tips. And Cynthia has a really awesome story, mom of autism, and she's doing some really amazing things. So we would love for you, Cynthia, to just share about your organization. What was your inspiration? Obviously, your children, and how long have you been doing this? So that we have the ability to share this with our audience. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure, ladies, to be around great people like yourself. I feel very excited. You can see, when a kid see a candy bar, that's the same way. Because whenever I see powerful women in the community doing the work, it's just amazing to be around them. So like you guys said, and thank you for saying my name right, which is a French word. It sounds so perfect because not a lot of people are able to say it. So Cricket, I give a shout out to you for that. So
Thank you.
Again, my name is Cynthia Laine, and I'm a mom of 4 boys with 2 kids that are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. So as you guys see, we are the founder of Black Autism Coalition, which is a nonprofit organization we started last year, but we have been working with families over 4 years now. And I work a lot with Haitian community because my background, I'm from Haiti. That's where I was born and raised. I came here when I was 13 years old. Okay. So I spent a lot of my life here. However, I have a culture back home. We still go to the same church and we still go and teach that same culture to our kids. So, we see there's a language barrier, especially in our community. So we cater to Haitian community and also Black communities that have no access to resources. So as far as what do? I do a lot, guys. Sometimes I sit down, I'm like, do I really do all these things? And then I see other women and I'm like, okay, I'm not even close to what they do. But oh, did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, Cynthia, you're doing a great job, and it's so amazing to me that you started in a Haitian community, correct? And then you worked your way here, and just being able to kind of bridge all of those gaps, because I'm sure there's people that all over the world that need support. And I love that you focus on the Black community. And the reason I say that is I have met many people along the 11-year journey that we've been on so far. And many times the family's concern is my child has autism, but he's also a different, race or, whatever it may be. And there's two concerns in those types of things. And I am a mom of a mixed child. I have children that are half Mexican and half, I guess white, if you want to put it for a lack of a better word. And me personally, I've never experienced it, but just talking to my daughter a little bit, sometimes she tells me, Mom, there's definitely a difference between the races, and we kind of all, stick together because we feel more comfortable in those environments, not because we want to separate, because it's just part of our natural lives. And so, I learned a lot just going through that with my children. And my daughter's now 22 and she has a voice, she's a sibling of autism. But I can share with you, Cynthia, my son who has autism, who's almost 21, he's 20 and a half, he doesn't understand the difference. He just thinks everybody needs to get along and we all just need to work together. And I love that part of autism because it's such a purity and such a just a very, they're just so kind, a kind way of living. And I think we have a lot to learn from our children, especially those that have this ability as an autistic individual to kind of show us a new journey, and a journey that has, I think, an even bigger light than maybe the typical world that we all live in. So thank you for sharing that. Cynthia, share a little bit about your organization. Who do you serve? What do you serve? And also, you have a background in financial coaching. Share a little bit about that as well.
Yes, I will. And thank you again for sharing your story. So as far as like the background, like we said, being a mom with two child on the spectrum, two children on the spectrum, one thing that it was not happening for me, it was just I was thrown a diagnosis, figure it out yourself. So I didn't have nowhere to go. Now I have parents that can come to me, that can go online. Like back then, I didn't know about all these things. I just thought like, okay, what is wrong with my child? Did I do something wrong? Oh, okay. So how his future gonna be like? I didn't have nobody to answer these type of questions. And now I sit down and realize there were things that I was doing. I didn't even realize it myself. I used to stay away from home as much as I can, because when I was at home, I was thinking too much. So just you mentioned as far as like being in the financial industry, right? As a financial coach, that's where I would find my comfort, because like when I used to be with my client away from the problem that we will call it back then, right? I will find comfort there because I'm like somewhere else. I don't need to think about autism and stuff, but I had to stop one way and say to myself, listen, you have two beautiful children. Like you say, they are a gift. You got to find a way to embrace their gift, to embrace who they are. And that's who brought us here to our organization and to create this, because I wanted parents. I look at parents that I met, a while ago now, that did not want to post their kids, because they didn't want nobody to know their kids has autism. Now, they have TikTok with them, they're expressing their love towards them. And that's a beautiful thing. People don't realize that sometimes people are like, oh, I don't post like meltdown or anything like that with my kids, but I post the positive part. And I always tell people, it's not just the positive part, but I choose the positive part to tell people there are a positive part of autism. It's not always the meltdown. It's not always people staring. It's not always, but there's beauty when you see that child shooting their basketball. Like, in a couple hours, I'm going to bring him to basketball, right? Last year, he was not shooting. And then this year, he's shooting the ball. So this is excitement and all these different things. And that's what brought us to create this organization, because I felt like, hey, if I didn't have the resources for my child, it's important that I go out there and go and spread that word out, everything that I've learned. So I did not want to be a mom with experience, because that's how it started. I was just telling people about my experience. Hey, here it is. This is how you toilet train your child. Try this way. I don't know if it's gonna work for you, but try it this way. This is the way that I did it. It's okay. You can't cry. I was that mom, but I had to say, hey, listen, you gotta go and get the development for yourself. Go learn about autism. Go learn from these professionals. So we started, working for a different program here in Massachusetts. Right now we're in the Laine Fellow program. We are part of the Massachusetts Disability Council. So we started getting involved, and the more we got involved, the more resources we were able to get our hand on. As far as like the financial part, this was something that was part of my career. I was out there educating middle-income family on how to better manage their finance. Because when it comes to finance, everybody needs help with that, right? You guys are experts on different places in your life, but there are some people, doctor, that I sit down and they didn't know the ABCD of finance. So we had been able to sit down and then educate them. So when we were doing that, as we were getting more into our organization and seeing the people's needs, we also see a huge need as far as like financial education in the mothers, fathers who have children with special abilities, we'll call that. They don't know much too about finance. They don't know. They just see their kids. Hey, I'm going to sit down, take care of my kid to the rest of their life, but they don't think about anything else. And I think it's from Autism Speak. It says to raise a child with special abilities, it takes about $1 million a year. You know what I mean? Because it's so much money towards their life, $1 million towards their life that we're gonna be spending. Because we gotta remember, these kids, there's special things that we gotta do from left to right for them. So if we don't know how to manage our finances, we're gonna come to a hole, because a lot of the families, they can go to work. They have to stay with their child. It's one person working. So how do we teach them how to better manage their finances? So those are the things that we're doing. I'm trying to like crop up everything, but we also do radio shows. We also get into the communities, create activities, bring resources. We talk one-on-one with mothers that don't want, to be in a group, because we find that sometimes when they first get their kids diagnosed, they don't want that attention yet. They want to get used to it. So we spend that one-on-one time with them as well.
Absolutely. Dr. Khan, I know you had wanted to jump in there. Please do. Oh, I think you're on mute, Dr. Khan. Sorry. There you go. Oh, no, it's still on. It's okay. Take your time.
I was taking the screenshot, by the way. So
Oh, perfect.
I would like to ask something over here, because I have seen Cynthia. She was one day, she just mentioned, or she shared something about a book. That was some kind of a coloring book or story book, and that was very amazing. So I would like you to, Cynthia, tell something about that. Is it a book, a story book that you created for your child? Because I have seen your child name in that book too, and that was some form of a story. So I would like you to tell this about that. And I have seen that was amazing part, by the way. Like other activity you are sharing about your child.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. And we are very excited. I have my son, Ryan. He's 12 years old and he's on the spectrum. So there are some people that call it like he is on the higher spectrum. That's what they call it. But me, I just say spectrum, right? He has autism as well. And there are a lot of times people say, hey, listen, he doesn't look autistic. He looks like a normal child. And in my community, they say, oh, this is the good one. This is the good one. I'm like, what do you mean this is the good one, right? But we had an event, and I remember I spoke about it on a show that Dr. Khan and we did, and I appreciate you bringing it up. And I was dealing with this issue with my neighbor that was calling the police on my son that was attracted to something to his house, instead of just kind of like see this thing with me and kind of see the need of my son, and then allowing him to be a child to them. They were calling the police and describing him in a way that he was not. He's now he's 11, but back then he was 10-year-old kid, 90 pounds. He was described as being this big black kid, 150 pounds. And then he comes to their house and vandalized the place. But I had that day, and I'm so glad my son wrote this book, because it shows like when something happened to you, you got to make sure you react the right way. Because even though you say, okay, a child may have autism, they don't understand. Yes, they do understand. They understand your reactions towards the decision that you are making. And I remember when this happened, I was really heartbroken, because imagine, as a Black woman, when we hear police, when we hear blue, we're afraid because of all these things that's been happening. And I want to tell people, it's not like, oh, we feel like everybody is a bad person or every police officer is a bad person, but it's these things that's been happening. And my son is nonverbal. He's going to this house, and he's the type of kid, he's like, if you don't like me, I'm going to make you like me. You're going to see me every day. So he was just continually going there. And then, they were just like tired. They, the wife was a little bit better at first, but the husband was just like so rude. They call, child services on me. But when they look at the work I've been doing with my son, they're like, this is a woman that really loves her son. But to make a long story short, my family and we started saying like, hey, listen, we need to react differently to this situation. And how do we act differently? I'm not going to go in front of this person's house and curse them out. I'm not going to be around my children and wishing they were dead, right? We say, hey, listen, okay, we're going to do our best as a family to protect our child. Okay, so my son, who loves to write books, he has about 25 books he has written. It's so cute because he does all his images. And then he was talking to his therapist, and then his therapist like, oh, there's this website that can help you to write your books and put your ideas into things. And then one thing that really caught my mind, that's when he's like, yeah, I want to write a book about the incident about my brother is gonna be like Ryan and Kendrick. Kendrick is his younger brother, helping Luke. Luke is my other son from Bad Neighbors. So that was the book's name. And then, if you read the book and, there's a link to it, you can go. A lot of people have supported us by getting that book. If you read that book, what really made me happy, he was saying more about like, how can he help his brother? He never mentioned he wanted bad for that neighbor. He never mentioned anything else. You know what I mean? There were some little things like he was aware of. He saw himself, the neighbor screaming and all those stuff that he mentioned, but there was no sort of violence. And I really appreciate that. And then it made myself and my husband look at each other as like, wow, we did a good job, because if we had did something bad, it would have been a whole different, way these pictures would have been, right? So now, with all this coming up as positive, I want to add that right now on my street, right? I know my neighbors probably like, damn it, but we were able to talk to our mayor. He had helped us to get 2 street signs on our street, because the neighbor was telling my son to go on the street and he could have get hit by a car. But when people are coming from up and down my street on both sides, they will know there's a child to watch out for, that has that has autism. So that was a great thing. So I just want people to know that's listening to me right now, whatever the situation it can be, turn it around to positive, because sometimes, the devil's trying to like get at us to react a certain way. But when we turn it into positive, our kids will be able to learn. So I'm so glad I have one of my friend, Raquel. He's going to be speaking about the book next week. So that's his first public speaking book. So he's so excited. He's like, Mom, I can't wait. I'm going to talk and stuff, but I'm going to be nervous. I'm like, don't worry. If you have to write things down, write them down. I'll be right next to you. So it came out to a positive thing.
Well, and Cynthia, for the job that you're doing, I mean, you have 4 boys, you're doing all this work in your community. You said you're taking care of a family member. You have a lot going on.
Yes.
One of the things that I can say is, your approach is exactly what we're trying to accomplish with every family we meet. None of us have an easy life, none of us, right? And it doesn't matter if you have a child with a disability or not. That just adds to not having an easy life. We all have to work. We have to make, an income. There's a lot of people out there that are blessed with, money or an easier lifestyle, but sometimes that's not even easy, right? We just make assumptions, but the reality is, you realize that your child, especially your children, the 2 with the autism, that they can do anything they put their minds to, as long as mom and anybody around them supports them. And it sounds like the brothers, the siblings are very involved. And that's a huge accomplishment, because if we can push, Dr. Khan she is like the ultimate role model for somebody that has a disability or autism. She has become a doctor of psychology. She is not afraid to push herself to the next level. She takes every challenge we give her and runs with it and makes it even better than what our vision is. We know that our children all have that ability. They could be the next scientist. They could be the next, music composer or author. I mean, but we just have to believe that they have that ability, and then show them the way, and then ask society to be accepting of it. And those are the things that we're really pushing for. And I think all of us, if we sat here and talked for hours and hours, we would find that we're all reaching for that same end result, which is creating a platform for individuals with all abilities or disabilities to become one. And I know that not every child is going to be a football player. Not every child is going to be able to, be a teacher or a doctor, whatever it may be. I understand that. But life is one time, right? One opportunity that we know of. And I say you have to give them the best life you possibly can. And as you get older as a parent, you realize I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more, right? And like you said, at the end, when you're no longer here, if we didn't do a good job preparing our families to set their children up to be successful when they're no longer here, then I don't think any of us on this call have done our job, right? Because that's really what our hope is that we can offer that hope to those families, especially those struggling, that the end result doesn't have to be bad if you know, work with people like ourselves to come up with solutions. And we're here to support. I believe your organization is here to support families. I believe Dr. Khan the same, and myself. And we would just love to, you know, continue collaborating with you, Cynthia, and continue to bring you on as a guest speaker and check in with you periodically just to see how you're doing. And please let us know what can we do to help support you on your journey as the milestones change for your children and your organization continues to grow. Dr. Khan, I would love for you to be, you know, the last kind of words of this presentation, and, you know, just share a little bit about why you wanted to bring Cynthia on today and how you met, so that we all understand, you know, the relationships that you're making out in, you know, our global environments. And this is just the beginning. So thank you.
So when you both were talking, I would like to say something over here too. Like I was not diagnosed, or maybe I was never diagnosed. The point was my parents are not educated. To be very honest, my father is, you know, the basic education he have. My mother also have basic education, but she can read and write. Mostly, I probably say that she can write, she can read, and my father is like he was a businessman, and they're not that much educated. Like, you know, the if I could say that the symptoms that are written in the books about autism, that was our from the place I came from. Like the pride we have, one time you say something and you don't go away with that, you know, and like you follow the routine and you are so tough on those things and those principles. Those are somehow called in our own culture, from Pakhtun culture I came. That are somehow our own, you could say our own thing. Like that's in our blood. So it made me think that if I'm doing those things, that it means that I am, this is by blood, this is in my genes. But when I started studying about women, when I started studying about a lot of things, that thing came that okay, I just tell this about something like just you asked that I'm what I'm doing with the global community. I'm attending, I'm going to a lot of things, I'm going as an international speaker. So many discussions, and I always advocate for that we need a different criteria for a woman. That is first thing. And second thing is that the important thing is that you need to be very supportive to your children. Like my parents were supportive, they're still very supportive. You know, I have my own struggles. You know, at the end of the day, the child have their own struggles, but what is making him out, what help him out to go out of everything is that the confidence the parents give to them, the family, the confidence which is around that child, and the child is getting that energy from mother, the child is getting that energy from the father. Like Cynthia was saying that they give very positive things. So like if you remember our previous talk, like I told you that my family is very empathetic. From so on, like from generation we are empathetic, we have strong women in our families, and they're all independent. So even I belong to a culture where women don't come out and do those things which I'm doing. So the thing is that we all need to understand that either it is autism, either it's black community, white community, brown community, like you both were talking about brown community. We all need to understand that the problem is a global problem. We have to work on that together, and we have to create examples. Whenever I'm doing something on Twitter, it's a lot of hate talk. Even they will call you out, why you say this thing, this puzzle piece is this, and this stuff like that. I said that you're not getting that what message I'm giving over here. It is support each other, no matter what are your, you know, belief system. Just support each other and support the whole community. And we have to work together as a community, because being global means that you are becoming a voice, a neurodivergent voice, a neurodivergent adult voice, and changing the system, challenging the system. We have to challenge the system. We have to understand why adults are not included in criteria, why they don't talk about adult, what is the problem, why they don't understand that children have to go and they have to face the puberty level, and they have to grow up, what is the life after that, you know. They are impulsive, they can go into bad habits, they can do something, and a lot of children, if you talk about mental health, autism is high on that. If you talk about suicide, right, autism is high on that. If you talk about drugs, ADHD and autism are high on that. Why? Because they don't find any reason, and we have so many cases which go underdiagnosed, which are not coming in the radar. So the more we talk about these things, the more we do collaboration, like today we did with Black Autism Coalition, and we all, what are we doing? I think we have to work together for everything. So that's, I would like to conclude the whole thing over here. And thank you so much, both of you, to come together and doing this discussion and making this discussion happening today.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. And Cynthia, could you just share with us where are you located and what is the best way for someone to get a hold of you? And then what I'll do is when I put this out on our social media, I will add that information so people have a way of getting in contact with you.
All right. Again, thank you both, Dr. Khan and then Cricket, for having me here. And I want to just say hello to your platform as well that had received me as a speaker today. So we are located in Massachusetts, the cold state.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
and then if someone want to be in touch with me, you can go to the website, which is www.blackautismcoalition.org. You can go in there and there's an info, you can click on it. There's an email that you can send directly to me. So we're always looking forward to hearing these emails. Like, yesterday we got an email from a mom and then we were like, she's like, how can you help? You know what I mean? Every time we get these different emails, we are excited, whatever way that we can help the family. So it's such a pleasure. Just to add to what Dr. Khan said, this is a global problem, right? And then it's not a matter of, I know you mentioned that Cricket is separating each other. Like when you hear Black autism, you're thinking like, oh, there's a separation. She's trying to separate. No, that's not what we're trying to do. There's a different culture, right? I have a young lady that I met that's doing different communication cards. She does them directly for Black and Brown community. For what, it's not a bad thing. It's just we have different way we wash our hair, and she didn't want to stick to the stick figures that we usually see on communication. And I bought these cards for my son, and when I bought them, my son was able to see himself within those cards. So when we see these kind of things, I want people to keep in mind, it's not a matter of separating, because the same way too, she get the hate emails or hate message, why are you trying to do this? Why are you trying to do that? But people are not getting the message. We just want our children to thrive. That's all we want. Whatever way that we can make that happen together, we make it happen together. It's not like, oh, we're thinking like we're doing differently. No, it's just us as a community. We need to come together. That's why those shows, I don't want them to be targeting only for parents that have children with special abilities, but we want them to target the people that don't too, so they can understand and teach their children it's okay. That child that's next to you, if he scream, there are times kids are so innocent. I see my son scream, there's another child start screaming too. They think it's fun, you know what I mean? And then you have the parents giving the look, right? And the kids like, I just thought the scream is fun too, let me do it too. You know what I mean? So we want this type of exposure to these other parents as well, so they can carry it on. So I'm so glad I was here with you guys. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Like I said, I'm very humbled to be part of this today.
Thank you, Cynthia. That's a great way of closing it, guys. We are a unified responder community. That's what Sons of Autism is hoping for, is that we all work together. It takes a community to raise a child with autism. And if you don't know your community, or you don't know who's living in your community, that would be the first step, is get out there and start learning and exposing you and your child on how to work in typical society and be a part of it, and share your resources as well, share your life with others as well, because the more we tell our community about our children and about our lives, it educates them on how to be a better responder in our community. Thanks everybody for joining us today at Spectrum Talks and Tips with Dr. Khan, our co-host, and Cynthia Laine, all the way from Massachusetts. And Cynthia, we'll definitely see you again. Take care, and we'll connect with you as soon as we possibly can. Bye, guys.